Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of the Halifax Select Board on November 18th, 2025 to order. It is a regular meeting. It is 6 o'clock. And we have in the room 4 of the Select Board members, with Rhonda Ashcraft joining us remotely. We have online Emily Dow, Jeffrey Glazer, Emily Karras Duncan, and as a phone person, we have Caitlin Stone. In the room, we have Nancy McCrae, we have Kate and Joseph Brown, we have Mike Fournier, and we have Stephen Chait. Do we have any changes or additions to the agenda?
Unless you want to have hearing of visitors early, but
I was wondering about that too. And whether,
but no chat.
Okay, so does anybody object to doing hearing of visitors first?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so hearing of visitors, who would like to speak? We'll start with people in the room. Stephen?
No.
Nancy? Okay. Let's see. Jeff, do you want to speak? No, okay. Emily?
Nope, I'm just here to listen.
Okay. And then we have a little bit of noise coming from maybe Caitlin's phone. Caitlin, can you do a *6 to mute yourself?
Yeah, I'm muted on my end, but I'll do *6 as well.
Okay, all right, thank you. If you're muted on your end, that's okay. Rhonda.
Yeah, it's my dog. He's got to get it. He's got to get in on the action here.
All right. Okay. So, okay, we got it. Then we've done hearing of visitors. If there's, of course, topics of interest along the way, please raise your hand and I will try to get you in on the conversation. All right, Karen, we have the budget up first and we're going to spend like 75 minutes on that.
Unless you want to get old business out of the way, I'm happy either way, whatever.
Well, we just did
schedules are.
Just did changes
Okay.
and additions. We only did one. Let's crack into the budget. Stephanie. Emily, go ahead and let Stephanie in, please. All right. So I thought with the budget, we could start with just recapping the objectives that we said last time. And the challenge is we did that on Friday, and I don't know that I've seen the minutes yet. So I remember that I said I wanted us to be resilient and realistic. Karen jumped on the sustainable bandwagon, I believe.
With my own definition of sustainable, because I don't know. I brought the article from
the comment.
Brattleboro.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, sustainable is having a budget and having things set up so that every year we can add to it as we need it, and in particular reserve funds.
Okay. And then I don't remember who was next in the comments and what others.
I mean, I think I was backing up, as Karen said, the sustainable thing. I know we talked about it.
Yes.
Having some other kind of tax base, which has never happened, but.
Well, actually, that's you were, there's some things about your comment of being interested in other ways to get income that I wanted to bounce back to you, which is just for the past couple of years, we had, or at least 2 years in a row, we've had an article on the warning about the 1% option tax for short-term rentals, aka Airbnb. And so that's something to think about. And the other thing to think about in terms of income is we haven't looked at any of our fees for a very long time. So that might be something to dig into. And then finally, just a reminder that there's that economic development forum in Wilmington. I don't know if that will meet your calendar, but anyway, that's one of the reasons I put this on here, was because I was like, oh, we might have some follow-up comments for each other there. And then Randy, you were talking about.
Well, I started, my first thing was, I'm always the guy that tries to make cuts where we can, but then I said, were the words I used, efficient, try to be efficient and stable.
Efficient and stable. Okay, cool. So that just kind of grounds us on where we're trying to go with this overall budget. And I guess the next thing we're going to talk about is the starting numbers. So, Karen,
What does that mean, starting numbers?
well, what did we have for our last year's budget? And, actually, I think I put the wrong thing on here. No, I didn't. What do we have for our FY 2026 overall budget? What was our bottom line?
Got the book, you've got the book there.
Right, is this here, the 1610?
I think it was
Oh, no, that's just highway.
The article,
total raised by taxes. I think we had a
Oh.
correction to it of $2,054,627. So that's just where I kind of wanted to start with that very high level. And
yeah,
then,
Article 3 was 2,475,927. Of which 254,627 was raised by taxes and 421,300 by non-tax revenue.
we amended that from the floor, right?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, what were the amended numbers of total? Was it 2,475,927?
Yes, that was our
Okay.
proposed budget, including funding a prior deficit of 41,000.
Oh, you have the corrected sheet here.
It says March 3rd on the corrected sheet.
Okay, that might be in here. All right, I'm
I can make
I'm
copies
gonna
of
put
mine.
2 million in my head. How's that?
Yeah, to raise and appropriate via taxes, it
Yeah.
was basically 2,054,627 was the total amount.
Okay. All right. And then, then I just, again, for a starting number, was looking for the FY 25 closeout number, because I think we said we had a deficit and, and so, yeah, so where are we kind of at the high level from the FY 25 closeout is my other question.
Okay, so depending how much detail we want to get into. I spent some time with Patty today, and the deficit that we're looking at for fiscal 25. Now, remember the way we look at the deficit. Do you want to let me just share my screen if you want?
Yeah. Emily, did you not let Stephanie in yet?
Hey,
Can
Rhonda,
you
can
please make me co-host? I didn't
Rhonda,
see her pop up and realized I wasn't on. I
Oh.
wasn't a co-host.
All right, it looks like she's disappeared now, so hopefully she can,
Rhonda, I'm sorry. Could you put yourself on mute? I'm guessing that's you. We hear talking in the background. Or a t-
I thought I did. Hold
okay.
on.
Or does somebody have a television on or something?
I'm gonna try to do it over here.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, I muted you. Okay, Remind me to
Okay,
unmute.
so let's see if I can share my screen. Okay. So this is not final, but it is where we are at the moment. And the reason it's not final is that we continue to go through the accounting and audit process. So we're doing things kind of side by side to the extent things seem a little disconnected and imprecise. I'm confident next year, once we've got NEMRIC, things will be a lot clearer. Part of the problem and why we're showing this $83,000 deficit, and we have this conversation every year that I've been involved in the budget, is we do everything and we're careful to mark the schedules in the town book that it's cash basis. But everything we do from an accounting technical perspective is on an accrual basis. And so from time to time, because we have this Excel file, which is a flat file, it has structural difficulties dealing with the accrual entries that in real life accounting happens. So keeping that in mind, a large part of this 83,000 is a timing difference. And when I say it's a timing difference, because we're on a cash basis, that 83,000 is something that we'll have to talk about whether or not we want to fund it in the next cycle or not. But what I'm prepared to do now is to walk through where that 83, how we got to that 83. So we're going to bounce around a little bit. So if you all bear with me, I can walk you through that. So for starters, big picture, we have this column here, right here. And this is total expenses from town operations. So that number, 4,021,489, if we come up here to D31, is basically this number. And it starts with, we have expenses, we've got school taxes, we've got resurfacing expenses, right? So we have a lot of expenses from the town operations. We generate approximately 4 million from town, again, we've got taxes came in at 3,000,006. These little green check marks, if you can see them, are when I go back to Patty's QuickBooks and I'm able to see them. And as we're going back and forth with the auditors, we're able to we've got all the backup detail for this stuff. And so we go through all these ins and outs, and we have miscellaneous revenues, like we had school refunds and 181,000 or however much, 15,600 of GMP lease income. So we had miscellaneous revenue. So basically we have all these kind of ins and outs. So that got us to 4,021,000 from town operations. Then we have net expenses from the select board and highway net expenses. So if we come over to the select board, this 460, 435, 46 is 460, 435 is this number right here, which is raise and appropriate from the select board. So this column here, which you can't really see it, column L, go all the way up here, is fiscal 25, right? So that's how much we spent in fiscal 25. Again, it's cash. What we're looking at is cash basis. The highway number, whoops, where'd it go? This highway number, the 1,166, similar concept. Go to column N, and it was this 1,666,228. So all of those numbers together, we have our income, we've got our expenses, and the surplus deficit is basically the total revenue from town operations, which is $4.5 million, give or take. And then we have total expenses of a little bit more, 83,711.51. Now we can go through, and with the select board, this column, right? So we have this column here is what our budget was, what we set for the budget.
Yeah.
Then through June 30, 25, which is the end of our fiscal year, this past June, Patty puts in this green column, how much we actually spent. And this all foots back to our P&L. And then if we got any reimbursements, and reimbursements can be anything from Green Mountain Power giving us back money, and this is where sometimes it'll get tricky with grants because they're a reserve fund. So kind of hold that thought. But this column is the plus and minus. So you say, here's our budget, minus what we spent, plus any reimbursements that we may have gotten on that line item, gives us a remaining balance. So everything that you see as we come down here in blue means that was a budget surplus for that line item. As we come down here, this would be a minus $51, right? The budget for conferences was 500 and we spent 551. So we were over budget in that line item by $51. So you kind of come all the way through, and there's pluses and minuses, and this is all perfectly normal. There were two numbers on the select board side that were more notable. So this first one is 17,279, and that is our EOC emergency supplies and expenses. The original budget was 1,200, and we actually ended up spending 18,000, so that was 17,000. In the next year over, we spent for 26, just to show you, we were like, okay, this was an extraordinary number. There's the 2,000, and the first 4 months we've only spent $400. So that was one larger number.
And what was that? What did that encompass?
Generator stuff.
I think
Generator?
Generator, we had 9,000, we had hazard mitigation, and then we had the generator expenses, and then there's some internet expenses in there also that we weren't expecting.
And was this grant part of that, or was that the previous fiscal year that we got the grant?
What grant?
The brick grant.
I have no idea. That's why the question is there.
Okay. All right.
So
anyway,
that's a
yeah.
question for Paul. I don't know if it came in. I have not seen that number come in anywhere, so I don't know if we got that money, if we had to ask for that money, if they never sent it. I don't have a record of the brick money,
There's
that
a-
9,000.
Okay.
But
So-
anyway, this was for fiscal 25.
Yeah.
So that's the 17. Then you've got, again, some pluses and minuses that come up, and then you have this really big number here. 142,875. That number is, again, bridges are a select board line item, not the highway. So it's a select board line item. We spent in fiscal 25, 142,875. That was we paid A.S. Clark that amount for the work that he did on Pike Road that was paid out of this account in the general fund, but was not in, this is a note from Patty, this was not in the bridge reserve fund. And I think what we have to be very much better at is, as money comes in, and some of this is accounting, right? So some of this is the select board, and some of this is, Patty on the accounting side. And reserve funds in QuickBooks are QuickBooks is, that's why we're getting rid of it. It's just hard to work with. In Nemrick, it's going to be much easier because the debits and credits, and then what is called the due to, due from, as it moves from the general fund to another fund, is all done behind the scenes by Nemrick, right? So this was a situation where this check was paid to A.S. Clark, and so the total of these sort of big negative pieces added up to just those two, 160,000. We had a bunch of positives, so we had 40,000 of positives, right? So that negative is only showing as 129. So again, hold this thought, because the 143,000 that we paid to A.S. Clark, that we paid on September 19th, 2024. We paid that in September. The next thing that we're going to have to think about, and again, it comes back to the FEMA funding, but let's go back now to highway, and let's do the same thing for highway. And what you'll see for highway, and here's this column, all the blues are where the highway department, that actually should be, wait a minute, let's do this again. Let me do this again real quick. Hold on. Hold on, conditional. So same thing here. The reds are where it's over budget. We knew about health insurance. We had that conversation. Building repairs and maintenance, this 92,000. So if we look here, that was $82,000 for the roof. Now, we had a budget of 6,500, spent 82 on the roof. We ended up with that deficit. With sand, 127, spent a little more on sand. Gravel, budget 220, spent 302. Now gravel is interesting because we have in this column O right here about 181,000, which is money that was reimbursed to us by Green Mountain Power because they were doing a bunch of work, and then they used our sand, they used our gravel, they used some equipment, and they used some of our personnel, and we sent them an invoice and we got back 181. So that 61 was the spend, was sorry, that's a different note. The 61 is 144 came in and we ended up with a surplus on sand of 61,000. This note is
Gravel.
for gravel, I'm sorry, yes, for gravel. So we kind of keep poking along here. The excavator, we had 38,000 in expenses and we didn't have anything budgeted specifically. And so we ended up with the 38. The loader, we had 24,000 came in, and this was a GMP reimbursement. So it looks like, right? So we had ended up with, why is that ending up 0? Hold on. It doesn't make sense. Sorry. Not sure what's going on there. So we have all of our pluses and minuses. Now, that's just sort of functionally how it works. When we get back now to the surplus deficit, there's a couple things that happen that are sensitive to this number, and I'm calling your attention to that number, the 1,066,000. If we come over to the highway department, this section here, rows 85 to 88, and this is where, and since Patrick was on the board, this model does not handle income against expenses as well as a proper software, accounting software will do it. We do our best. This number for, this is fiscal 25 budget, was put in, right? And Patty, as when she went through this, and I can read this, I'll go back. Well, I probably should read it first. It'll save questions. Hold on. So according to Patty, if you can see this, we should not have included this amount as anticipated grant income, as anticipated income in our budget. We just, it's just stuff like this happens and it causes problems. Because we received FEMA money for Pike and Vaughn in fiscal 24. In January, when we were doing the budget, our estimate was 248,787 that particular January. So in that budget cycle, we figured, okay, we're going to get the FEMA money during fiscal 25. Well, what happened was we got the FEMA money 3 weeks early, and we got it on June 6th, which is fiscal 24. We were expecting it in fiscal 25. On a cash basis, it came in on June 6th. So the 296 or the 264 that we were anticipating, it didn't come in during fiscal 25. And fiscal 25 is what's driving what we think our deficit is. That 83,000 is fiscal 25. So in fiscal 24, and you can go back and look at the town meeting stuff, we had a deficit, a calculated deficit of 41,000. And that's page 17 of the meeting book. If this 264, let's say we got it in the year that we thought we were going to get it, in fiscal 25. So I'm just going to plop it right there. Okay. If I come back over to the deficit detail now, and this is to your point, Edie, where you thought, wow, this feels like we ought to have a surplus. It's a timing difference.
Yep.
And because it's a cash basis, it causes this kind of a problem.
Okay, did you say that NEMRIC is going to appear differently to sort of account for this?
Well, I think one of the big changes,
You go back and put the 0 so it doesn't.
yeah, I think one of the big changes here in parallel with doing this new software is it really feels like we're moving from a cash basis to a modified accrual basis, right?
Correct.
So
Well, no, we're still gonna do the budget on,
The-
we're still
but
gonna
I'm
be
not
on a
talking
cash
about-
basis.
I'm talking about like, as from an accounting perspective, and when we prepare stuff for the auditor, they do this on a modified.
Yeah,
accrual
if that's the
basis.
rule.
So one of the things as we go through this, and I so appreciate all of the detail you were able to give us and make it, make it accurate. I'm kind of looking at this and I kind of go back to this default of, okay, if we had an $82,000 deficit and that was the cost of that roof, which we didn't budget for, if I recall, then that's the easy thing to explain to taxpayers, right?
Yes,
We did that. The money coming in differently than we expected from FEMA is not a new.
we have a timing difference. It's like a rolling
Yeah.
timing difference. Every
Yeah.
year, it's just a different amount.
Yeah,
right?
so-
And maybe it's FEMA, maybe it's something else.
So kind of to get back to where we are right now, we may have to address that that deficit somehow in the budget. Normally you would. In the next budget, you would figure out how to address the deficit. If we want to rethink whether that's really necessary, we'll do that at another meeting.
Well, that comes down when we get, another
Yeah.
month into the process and we put this
Yeah.
together, and over here, instead of
Yeah.
having 41,000, if we chose to do the same thing, we would have 80,000 that we
Yeah.
would fund
Yeah.
the deficit.
And then so to kind of just like give us a level set, starting numbers, we had a deficit. We had about a $2 million budget raised by taxes last year.
Well, if you look here, right, so this, if anybody's looking here, these two rows here that
Yeah.
I'm highlighting. This, for fiscal 25, our budget for the select board and the highway was 2,434,320,
Yeah.
right?
And for everybody who's in the room, I always tend to think not of that number, but of the number we're raising through taxes. Because that number includes grants that we get every single year from the state.
Right, so if you'll let me finish. So the 2,434,000 is the highway budget, it's the total budget. It does not include, it's still low. It does not include things like town clerk salaries. It does not include social services. It does not include, whatever articles we've got going.
Yeah.
If you just look at the surplus and deficit relative to the budget, just the budget, it is a 3.4% deficit, right? It's a 3%.
It's not great.
And this is sort of me, anything that I see on a budget that is plus or minus within 5%, considering we're looking, more than a year out, it feels like that's,
Yeah.
given what happens in the world, fairly reasonable.
Yeah.
But to your point, Edie, if you look at just what's raised by taxes.
Yeah.
Article 3, page 4, it was 1,967,000, lower number. So the same percentage is 4.3% of the amount raised by taxes.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you very much.
But to your point, like, what is that 83?
Yeah.
We definitely have to say, okay, these are the big, the
Yeah.
big moving parts, but I think, like the
Yeah.
roof.
Yeah.
That was a big one, but before I'm personally willing to say it was the roof,
I know.
I want to sit down with
Yeah.
Patty and track the cash, and here's the
Yeah.
check, and this came in, and here's the
Yeah.
debits and credits, which are happening as part of the audit, with Batchelder in the background, but anyway, that's.
Yeah, cool.
So
So,
the roof, can I just ask real
Yeah.
quick? So the roof, there was a budget amount of, what was it, 6,500 or something?
That was the maintenance fund.
yeah,
we
that was
had
just
left
a
over.
general
Yeah.
maintenance fund.
Oh,
which
so it
we
had not, it
depleted.
wasn't an actual estimate.
Yeah, which
you're
we depleted,
getting
but
that Blew up or whatever.
yeah, but
Okay.
somewhere along the way, this roof that we had been dealing with for decades, it was leaking for decades. We just said, let's go ahead and fix it. So we did. And then we knew we had some of these money from FEMA that was not part of the original grant from 2024. The federal government stepped in and said, we're gonna help, and the state stepped in, and so we ended up with a bit of a I think, with a bit of a windfall from what we thought we were gonna have to pay out of Halifax money. We got more federal and state money to pay for that, so we kind of were like, okay, we're not shooting ourselves in the foot too badly here, so all of that.
And I actually just made myself a note. I want to go back and look at my notes because we're gonna get into this deeper and we'll talk about that more, but we did, we had decided that we would have money that we could cover the roof with.
Yeah.
And we will get into that, I'm sure, and figure out how that
Yeah.
works, but I think a lot of it is, like you said, it's the timing issue of it all.
Yeah.
And this is I mean, I'm happy with the way the model works because on a cash basis, line by line, but as soon as we start getting into municipal accounting, right?
Yeah.
If we were a little company and we were our own little Halifax, dot corp, this would all be simple because we wouldn't have a lot of accruals and back and forth between funds. So we'd have
Mhm.
the garage roof fund and we have the resurfacing fund and the bridge fund. So every time something goes from the general fund, and we say, okay, we want to put 50 grand in some reserve fund, we put that 50 grand somewhere. Then when we go to pay it, it goes from the fund back to the general fund so we can write a check, right? Because the funds don't have checkbooks. So from an accounting perspective, the money is kind of hopping back and forth in and out of funds, right? The ability to keep an eye on all those pluses and minuses, those debits and credits, that's where NEMRIC is going to help us
It's gonna make it
a lot. Because you have to, stay on top of all these individual things. Part of what we're also dealing with, and I'll sort of say it up front, is the town 3 years ago said, well, let's not do a paid audit every single year. Let's do every 3 years. And when I first came, I thought, well, that's worrisome because it's really hard to do your accounting on a three-year basis, right? So you have to stay current, but it's, I think, more problematic. And I think what we're finding, because the combination of doing 3 years of audits plus moving from a QuickBooks accounting to this more sophisticated accounting system, that's why this audit is expensive. And every year, once it's in NEMRIC, it's cheaper and more efficient, that's my belief, to do that every year. So from an accountant, if they have to have 3 years, right? Because it's not like they're only auditing 25, big audit, but we have to send them the balances for all of these funds. And when you send them a balance, it means what came in, what came out, where did you end up? And so it ends up being like a mini audit. So that's been part of our challenge, and that's why I don't have a complete crisp answer for some of the things we're talking about. But that's why I put these reserve fund allocations on the board, so as we're looking at it, we can make sure that we're putting money where it needs to go, so we have it in the
So-
future.
We're gonna switch into the highway stuff shortly, but I would love to have some place, and I don't know that I want to mess up your board, to kind of put the things that are on our mind, like annual audit question, funding an annual audit.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you're willing to just do that right now and we can move it later if it's not, but just like on the bottom of something.
Yeah, because what we can,
Cause I have my own, like, things that give me heartburn. And so we can kind of begin to track them, even though we're not gonna talk about that tonight. So what we wanna focus on is the highway.
Well, what we can do is see if it works.
we can do that, sort of.
Okay.
So I'm gonna not do that yet. But if we have to, we can.
So with all of that wonderful foundational information, I think what we want to try to look at tonight in the next thing is the highway budget and kind of look at those needle movers.
The needle movers, all right, so let's do that. So for needle movers,
And can we also, before we do the needle movers even, things on my mind are,
Sorry.
grader. Right, that needs to be,
are these things you want to talk about? This is what you're putting on here now?
these are the things that I want to get out of my head and out to the group, which is like, where we looking at trying to furbish the grader? I've got the right piece of equipment.
Whatever you're doing.
Okay, so we got grader, which is massive amount of money and I think all we have to do is flip those little,
Yeah.
things out of the way.
See what we got here. Oh, this is why.
I don't, it doesn't have to be perfect.
All right, so what did you want to put on here?
So I want to put, highway
Wait, we've got accounting.
accounting, yep. Counting audits, I guess.
Well, it's actually, it's not accounting, it's
the
just audit.
Yeah. Cause I know I can do one of my questions I can get off, I've been saying I would do it for months, but now I can do it. So the annual audit's one, the next one is, grader. Cause that's like a big piece of equipment that we have to figure out how we're going to keep it in service. I want to look at the equipment schedule overall, which we had a mini conversation about at some point. But let's not do that tonight. Because I'm looking in that for places to cut, to use Randy's word. And then, anything else for highway? I don't know, we could leave it at that for now, but just kind of get some of the big stuff out. Is there a truck that's supposed to be replaced too? Or not?
We could go through that when we go through the schedule. I think Edie, it's your, all of those things.
Yeah.
Are line item discussions that we're gonna hit, so.
Yeah.
None of those things are things that aren't normally in a line item discussion. Right, so we'll hit them all.
True, stuff
Except
that,
for your equipment schedule, you don't have them line for each truck.
But when we go through, I do.
but, and I would argue, those things are things, like I said, that there can be some offline in between
Like
meetings.
these,
that's trying to
this
follow up
this
with them.
schedule, Mike?
Yeah, you have an equipment schedule, but it's not an actual line for line when you're going through the budget.
No, but we get the totals and we have to go back and forth. But, yeah, that's just a detail. Okay.
Okay, all right, cool. So needle
So
mover.
you wanna look at needle movers. So for the highway, so what I've done for needle movers. Let's get our run date changed here today. All right, so hold on. Let's get our needle movers. This is 18. So this is set up. So we have our account numbers. We've got what it's called, what the account is. If you'll recall, we set things up as either flexible, fixed. So flexible is where the select board has a reasonable, if not total, ability to change. Things like health insurance, employee benefits tend to be a fixed number. Commodities, right, electricity, gravel. So that's what this column is. Then we have what was our budget in 25, and these items are all linked. If you see up here, right here, if you see up there at the top, that highway HM9 is linking to the highway tab where we'll be inputting our budget. But this is the budget for fiscal 25. This is the budget, this column for fiscal 26. This column is, and again, these are all linked, but this column is right now, just to make it work so we can get started, is exactly the same as what the budget for 26 is, just so we have a starting number, and that number can go up or down. As we change it in the highway tab, it's going to link and change here. This column is going to tell us, this column here, if it's a change greater than 5%, the budget between 26 and 25. From 25 to 26, did that number go up more than 25%? Then right now, from fiscal 26 to 27, as we have our line item discussions right now, there's no change because I just copied 26 into 27. So those are all zero. These two is sort of is interactive. So as this number, right, if the change to fiscal 26 was greater than 5%, that yes means it's over 5%, so we can test it as a needle mover. For this stuff over here, right, I'm looking at a needle mover two ways, right? Because you could have something that increased 5% or 6% or 10% from the prior year, but it was $8, so who cares? Over here on the right, what I'm showing is what is the percentage relative to the total budget? So is it, 17% of the highway budget is wages, right? We come down here, 12%, and we'll go through each of these line items. Gravel. So gravel was 12% of the 26 budget. So when we're looking at 27, I would argue that we would want everything that has a yes here. Those are our first high ticket items, right? Those are going to be our needle movers. So if we come over to the highway, let's go to gravel because we can. So let's go to gravel. If we come over here, this number Q, this was the approved budget in 26. Through Halloween, we spent on gravel 168. So we've got 46,000 left to get us to the end of July with gravel. So for now, the budget, like I said, is I just made it identical to last year. So if we say, well, we'd really rather that number be 225. Okay, if I make that 225, and I'm just going to come back to it so I don't mess it up. If we come over to the needle mover, where did it go? It's now 12%. We went from 215 and I changed it to 225. And as all the numbers recalculate now, because I put an increase in of $10,000, it's now 12.3% of the total budget for the highway. So that's mechanically how it works. And what we've done in prior years is with all these yeses, I've tried to keep track of something is a big number because it changed between 25 and 26 and what was approved last year. So what were the big movers last year? Let's look at those again. And then over on the right, what are the big line items relative to the whole budget? So that's how I defined needle movers. And I just picked 5% because it was
Okay,
a round number.
all right, cool.
So let me go back here
Yeah, let's go back to,
and change this to 215 where it was.
Do we know who Karen is?
so we've been a Karen Larkin who's come to a number of meetings, but I do not know who that person is. I've never been able to find any data on who that person is.
So that person can identify itself, I guess. We don't know who it is. Okay, so how would you like to
So
proceed?
here, I would actually, let's start with gravel. Let's just do it. Because we were there. Question on the gravel. You said that number was through Halloween. Just before I went on my trip,
Which gravel?
I did a massive hours-long review of dozens of little sheets of stuff that came in. And that total highway order for gravel was 155,000. That is included in here, presumably. Okay, and then just for the board to know, that was one of the ones where I know, again, you've delegated that I can do that. One of the things that occurred with that one, just so that you're aware of this, the provider had given us a bunch of invoices that had an incorrect lower than our bid amount on a bunch of those randomly on a bunch of the loads. And
Invoices, yeah.
the invoices. And so Mike had to do a lot of work to square that away. And my concern was, why did that happen? And it looked to me like there maybe was somebody new working on them. There was a name that I hadn't
The
seen.
biggest thing is they got hacked.
Oh, they got hacked. Okay, so that's important to know.
They got hacked in August
Okay,
and so that was some of it, but then, yeah, some of it was the new people.
okay. All right, so my concern was, did we end up getting more gravel than we should have because we thought we were still under
No,
budget?
because I
Or
just
good.
I tell her a number and that's what they deliver as of that time.
Perfect.
So it's a billing issue.
it was a billing issue, but I think it's interesting, like the whole hacking thing, right? Because we evaluate vendors on a lot of reasons, right? And so far, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this vendor, but I'm just noting that we are a small town and, we have issues. We want to make sure we're trying to make sure that our vendors are also as cyber secure as they can be, because obviously then that like impacts us, right? In terms of getting timely and accurate billing. So, okay. Thank you, Mike, for that clarification. Okay, so how much gravel do we need? The same amount that we got this year?
So if I recall, I think it was around 20 miles of our roads that GMP dug up this year. Is that what it was? Around 20 miles of roads that they're putting gravel on?
Sounds about right.
So I just was thinking about this the other day. If they're putting 6 inches of gravel on 20 miles of our roads,
4, they're putting another 4 on top.
right, total, but they did 2,
Mhm.
they're gonna do 4 more. They've already done 2.
Mhm.
So that's a total of 6 inches of gravel. So those roads are not gonna need gravel for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
so maybe we can cut that
So that's
amount down.
something I was thinking about. So I think maybe we could, look at those numbers, and I'm assuming we have a little bit of stockpile of gravel now.
Yeah, cause they just delivered.
Yeah,
it.
okay,
I
yeah.
ordered it in July and
Right.
it just showed up now. So.
Yeah.
And then on the balancing side of that, Randy, because I like where you're thinking with that, right? That makes some sense to me too. On the flip side of that, one of the biggest challenges that we had when Irene hit our town so hard was having that stockpile, and we were fortunate that we did at that point. So in our discussion about where to put that balance point, I want to make sure we're still acknowledging that we don't know if we're going to get any federal money for any disasters going forward. So let's not overcorrect. Is what I'm thinking. But I agree that we shouldn't have to have as much because that other work has gone on. And they're gonna do more next year. We don't know what,
Right.
too, right?
So it's nice to have extra material whenever you can to stockpile this, stockpile that. But you also have to look at the big picture, the whole number.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be things like that you can, but one of the things we talked about that we really want to look into putting some money into is some bridge work. We're gonna definitely need to do some bridge work.
And to that, and we're not on that line item, but just Lori and I were getting some work done today. And Mike, Lori, and I are gonna be meeting with a couple of guys from V-Trans, one of whom is the bridge supervisor on Friday, and we're gonna talk about the Route 112 Branch Road Bridge.
Okay.
And where are we? What is it? The estimate for work, and that's where up here we've got 600 to $1 million. The 600,000 is pretty much that bridge, right? Because what was the number? 466,000
Yeah.
was the estimate in 2020.
Mhm.
So depending on how much worse it's gotten, and
Everything's getting more.
everything is more expensive. We're just round numbers. We're just like, and that's kind of where I was last year at 600 grand. So anyway, we're gonna have a bridge conversation of that particular bridge on Friday.
All right.
And we'll report back.
I would like to suggest, instead of you reporting back, I would like to have it be a special meeting and I'd like to be there. That's a lot of money. And
Oh,
I'm happy to
Lord.
warn it. I'm happy to warn it.
Let's have a second meeting. This is just, what is it? How are we doing it? What's going on?
That
The
is, that is a
unknowns, we don't
select,
know.
Right.
it's a select board responsibility though. And I'm telling you that I've done bridges before and I want
Okay,
to.
well, you can go instead of me. I'm fine with that,
Okay, I do that.
because I'm
Yeah.
just pushing a pencil. So I think having the entire board there, it's up to you guys, right? And
I mean, I don't-
Rhonda.
I see
because we're
both
gonna
sides of
have
it, but I don't necessarily know if we have to for this time. Just because if you get information, then come back to us and figure out what we gotta do. I mean, it's gonna be,
That's my plan. I'm so tired of having.
it's
board meetings.
it's just that it's gonna be, you're gonna get information and then there's gonna be more talk and then
Correct.
there's gonna be more information and then we finally
Yeah.
get to where we have a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
ours is just the very first, what's going on? What are the
Either
facts?
way,
What do we
if
have to
if We
do?
really have to have a
That's all
meeting.
it is.
I'm sure I can, actually, Friday's not that good, but I can do it for a short time.
Okay.
I want to have as few meetings as possible. So if you want to go instead of me,
I'll take that
God
up.
bless
And
you.
again, I just feel like that is a huge amount of money that we're talking about. And I've never actually met the guys from the V-Trans, the new district. We used to be with a different district. So I'd be happy to do that and make sure I understand what we're talking about with that particular bridge. That was something we looked at some years back when I was on the board as well, that specific bridge.
Yeah, and so just as a practical matter, and I'll give you a copy of this when I'm done. But this is the report for that bridge.
Yeah, I think there's a copy of it back in there.
And the project cost back in, well, the inspection date was 24, but I think their numbers came from 20 for some reason, or 22. It was 466,000.
I'm assuming that's to fix the bridge, not to put in a new bridge.
I would say.
I think it's
Repair.
fixed, yeah, it's a
Repair.
repair,
Okay,
it's improvements, so
what page is that on?
3.
Okay, cool. All right, so we digressed and diverged. Stephen, did you have a comment on that?
Randy's comment about the 20 miles of road and GMP. The logic that you're putting forward seems to imply, well, we don't need gravel for those 20 miles.
Mhm.
And my curiosity is, during mud season, you don't know what's gonna happen to those 20 miles. So if you take 100% of those 20 miles not needing gravel, you may be short changing yourself if mud becomes a problem in that area. So it just sounded like, well, we don't have to worry about those 20 miles, and I'm just wondering if that's sort of.
I mean, yeah, you never really know those
Yeah,
things, but I guess this is a question for Mike. What percentage of the roads do we re-gravel every year?
I have no idea.
I mean, what, would you say a third, half? I mean, cause we know that every road doesn't get gravel every year, we just can't
Every
do
road
that.
don't get gravel every year. I couldn't even tell you a number. I mean,
But when
this
you
year
have,
was a lot of side roads, cause they've all, we reshaped and formed and Grant and Buckland Hill, so that took a lot.
Right.
Wind Road was very bad with stones and everything else, so that got some.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it this year was side roads, but percentage I couldn't even remotely tell you.
but when the areas of mud are really bad, do you, I mean, quite often you'll just use a stone,
Yeah, we got that stone.
a stone instead of a gravel,
For mud, yes,
yeah.
but then you gotta cover the stone with
Yeah.
gravel. To do it right.
So in the past, it looks like we've estimated that we need about 10,000. This looks like, makes it look like there's two numbers in there.
What number are you looking at this?
11,000. Yeah, I'm looking at the notes. The notes are the most important part of this to me because it's from year to year to year. We put in knowledge from the
Yeah, we can
history.
Find some things there.
Yeah, so right now, everything in black is from last year, and as we talk it through, I'm gonna change, if we make any changes, and we're just gonna make it green, so remember last year, we were just like looking for what we hadn't.
So if we, again, we're not gonna have perfect information, but if we said normally we get 10,000 cubic yards, that.
That was always, before I was the boss, what they hypothetical.
Okay, and I think last year you thought maybe that was a little high.
Well, since I've been boss, we've never got 10,000.
You never had that delivered in the end. Okay,
You wouldn't go for it.
okay. All right, so if we did 6,500 yards last year at $33 delivered. I'm just wondering if we can, again, to kind of move the conversation along, put down a number. And we'll come back to it, I'm guessing over time. So if we went from 6,500, was our ended up determining our budget last year, can we go to 5,000 yards? And see what would be if we're at the same delivery cost, which we won't be, but.
Do you want me to get the bid
I was
information?
gonna say, what was the,
This year was 31.
31 this year, so it was actually,
Was it?
it went down? I hear rumors that it never goes.
Well, I wouldn't hypothetical that it's gonna be 31 next year, but.
Right. Yep. We did 215.
what's the question?
We did, if we budgeted 215. Yeah, that is right, okay.
Yeah,
So,
so
if we made an estimate of 5,000 yards of gravel needed.
we had
we-
6,500 was the is the
Yeah.
bid.
So it's shaving some, but not a third of the roads. And we went with 33 instead of the 31 that we think we got. That would be 165 for that line item.
And again, 31 was the number you said.
3150 was the winning bid.
And I did it at 33 because that was what's in the notes.
For crushed gravel, yeah, that was all states. So, where are we here? So what you wanna do here is you wanna say equal. You wanna say 165. Is
I
that,
think.
It's a place to start. I mean, we always go back to different things
Yeah.
anyway, but it's a place to start. And if we gather more information, we can certainly look at it further.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if there's a way, Mike, that you can think about it in your spare time, roughly, percentage of roads that we gravel, that would, be helpful.
Probably won't happen.
But I mean, again, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine we do half of our roads every year, but
No.
We should be able to come up with something though that says if the 10,000,
Not to interrupt you, but the thing you gotta think about too is like projects. Like this Whitneyville project, that's gonna eat a lot of gravel, a lot of the ditch stone. You know, I mean, that's.
and that's this stuff up here.
Oh, that's not a grant.
No, but we also have,
Other
We-
stitched down.
right, but we have other projects, right, that we're gonna
That you
backfill.
need to use
That we
ditch
need to
stone.
use aggregates.
Unchanged
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You're using it for that.
okay, so that's a ditch stone conversation in part.
Or gravel if we're
Mm.
doing whatever we're doing. I mean, it's
So does
just,
somebody want to make another number besides 5,000 to put in there for amount?
I think it's a good place to start.
yeah, I think
Okay.
it's
Okay.
it's a decent place to start.
Okay, so let's go on to our next needle mover. And actually, I wanna, for the moment, let's stay away from wages and let's stay away from the
Mhm.
insurance because we talked about the insurance last time we were together. We can fill in what we came up with as a starting point. But let's not do that tonight because those are longer conversations. And let's find another needle mover to look at. And I'm trying to, since I put Rhonda on mute, so she can't be my timekeeper, I set a timer on my phone to go off with about 5 minutes to spare on this topic, and it's now 7, it's not quite 7, and so that'll go off in about 10 minutes. We got 10 more minutes to,
So 15% a needle mover in this neighborhood is again, then this is a resurfacing fund,
okay,
right? And so that's
okay.
kind of the next thing.
Okay, resurfacing.
But wait a minute, let's stick away from funds, because I'd like to do all the funds together if we can,
Okay,
because it's gonna require some moving around. So let's go back up here. So we had that, we had that, we had that. So let's look at sand. Is this sand? Let's look at sand.
okay, sand.
Sand, so sand is roughly almost 7% of the line item budget. We had a lower sand number last year. Sorry, guys, sorry to make you blind. Here we go, sand. So that was the 24 bid. So for winter sand, we had, again, with all states, it was 4,000 cubic yards at $27.30. So it was 109,200.
And this year it went up to 31.
And right. But that was the bid that we opened in July 2025.
Was 31,
2730.
so it actually went down.
A yard or a ton?
This is a cubic yard.
All right, so 2730 times what happens if we put that in times the same amount that we got last year? And And,
Sand. I'm sorry, what do you want to put in here?
so I want to put the pricing of 2730 just as a starting point. And then, if we go with the same 4,000 cubic yards, what does that come up to?
Should be. Come on,
Computer.
do it again. Should be 109,200, so. 109,200.
All right, so let's talk quantities on that.
So this is, I'm gonna change this.
You always buy 4,000 yards, and last year you had to buy more.
Okay, so should we buy more?
It's a gamble.
What is your recommendation?
I would say yes, but
Okay,
I mean, last year you were, what, $20,000 over budget on paying because we didn't have enough.
okay.
So we up to 30 to 4,000, okay, so.
And the price did kind of go down from one year to the next for the actual cost, so
25, we're saying 2730 times 4,000 is the first part.
okay. And then what we might want to put in for the notes, you're doing notes right now.
I'm
yes?
doing notes, yeah.
Is Mike recommends additional yardage or whatever we want to call it.
So at this year's price, I get like another 732 yards.
Okay.
20 grand, but.
Okay,
Another 732 yards,
700 yards.
yeah,
yep.
and that's again
700
something. If we
yards.
ended up with some left over,
At-
yay,
We can use it for next year.
exactly. So that ends up, foundationally being a little bit of a level set with the budget, but might keep us from having a deficit next year.
Okay, so that's that, which is. I'm gonna do two numbers here, there's that. 700.
Yeah. Okay.
So now that's 128,310, and that's,
So it went up. So Mike's calculation somehow that didn't quite level fund us.
well, because we had. Because we had 4,000 last time and we added 700 yards to the 4,000, and last time
Yeah,
it was
I
4,000 at a
thought-
price.
Yeah, I thought he was saying we
The price difference we would gain the
price
yardage.
difference we would gain, we would still end up close to the same amount. So let's do 500 instead of 700 right now and see what happens there.
You're up 2,000, that's.
Yeah, let's go with that for now. We got 2 done. Yeah. I have to keep my spirits up through this stone because it's time consuming and my brain
That, we did
starts to get
that, so
fried.
this next one, and that's just, is salt,
So,
we just went through salt, so we can.
oh yeah, we just got our,
So that was our quote for 24. Hold on, let me get the quote for, I'm sorry again, Joe.
Did you say salt?
Yeah, fluoride,
No, it's not for.
no. We have it on here as salt. So we didn't have a salt, did we not, because we have. We've got the chloride and the innovative, did we have a bid for salt?
that was the
Yeah.
one that,
98.95, I think it was.
The Cargill.
Yeah.
So that
It's a
was
state bid.
99, yeah, that was 99,
75. is what the
Right.
State was.
right, And ours was 98.25. So where's salt? Cargill. 33. So this is the Cargill. Change this to 10. 25.
Is that a yard or a ton?
And
I think
that
they're all yard. aren't
is 98. 25. Times. Well, is Cargill. We just had him, sorry guys. Joan, I am so, Joan's gonna get mad at me.
Last year's price was 86.75.
Yeah, I know.
It's 1350 if I
Looking
recall.
for-
So I was looking at that today.
The new
So what do we usually get? Do you remember, Mike?
150 tons.
Car-
So again, this is a ton, not a yard.
We got-
This is the ton,
Yeah.
So this is. So we've got here 1025 for 450 tons. Okay. So now this.
4421.
Green. And this equals 450 times 98.25. And that is up from the prior year. We had 39. And we're at 44.
If I recall, that 450 was the number we found that's pretty stable generally for us, right?
Yeah,
We've
we've
had that
got-
same number for a while, I think.
Yeah, every year it's been 450
Yeah.
that I've seen. Okay. Then what do we have here? That's resurfacing. We're gonna come back to that. Excavator, grader, loaders. Okay, let's see up here what we got. Conferences and training. That ended up being a odd needle mover, but it's not a big number, but it shows up on a needle mover because it went up, it doubled.
That's because a few years ago, we put money in for the CDL training for the employee.
That's right.
So if you keep the crew you got, theoretically, you should be able to cut $4,000 out of that.
Perfect. Let me just find conferences 7210.
And most of the training you guys get is
Most all of it's free,
free.
other than physical DOT cards and.
Which line are we on? Sorry, which number?
We're right here, this 15. So to Mike's point, it was 5,500 last year. The year before it was 25, half that. So last,
That was because we were in the process of hiring a new person, not
Right.
knowing what we were gonna get. So
so
Do we
Right.
think like 1,000 is adequate for?
if you can keep the crew you got, I think it's adequate for sure.
okay, so we don't have any CDL trading anymore. Delete that. So we're gonna say this is gonna be 1,000? Is that what we said? Okay, that's down 81%.
And 4,000.
The conferences. Now we come into trash collection and
Oh, yeah.
telephone, right?
That
Stuff
one we
like
have-
that.
That one we have a contract with now and the contract went up.
Okay, so if we go to trash collection,
And 5 and 10. All right, since if the trash collection is gonna require me to look for something on my computer, I'm gonna say maybe we stop there unless
Well,
there's,
just for a quick,
yeah.
it went up to 160 60-something dollars a month for the trash.
For the trash. Is this one
So if
also
you-
have the, this is have recycling in here, or is that on another?
That's Selectboard.
Separate, okay. Thank you, Mike.
So how much is it if I say 20?
60. It's either 164 or 169 going off memory.
I'm gonna call it
So
one
if you call
sixty-nine.
170 times 12, they'll give you a close number
Okay,
till we start.
let's screen update, so we'll say four. So. Equals 170. Times 12, and then we've got, it looks like green up day was an additional couple of bucks.
Yeah, there's,
Green up to really what, $100 or something.
So it says, where'd it go?
350.
Did I just lose the note?
It's okay. I said,
So if you go to like
Wait a minute.
2,400, if green up days 350, 170 times 12 is 2,040 plus 350. You say 3,400 for, and like 2,400 for.
Okay, so that equals 144. I'm doing it this way, Mike, because if we change things, it's easier to change the calculation. I know your numbers are right. Plus green up day of 350. It's 2,000.
Yeah, but you got 144 on there instead of 164.
yeah, the new numbers one.
Oh, yeah. What is it supposed to be? 160?
164, but I don't know if it's 64.
It was either
69.
64 or 69.
You know why? Because we said 170. All right, let me put one.
69.
I'm gonna put 170 because that's what we had first for now, so this should be 170. 170. Okay,
All right.
so for the highway department, so whatever it is, at 715. You know, the big things really are gonna be equipment. The excavator, or sorry, the grader. Go over here to the grader. And, you know, we've been trying to get. To replace, you know, it's targeted for replacement in 27. If we come over to the schedule. We bought it for 288,745. We had an estimate of a full replacement some time ago of 445. I don't know what the mileage is, Mike. We're gonna have to get all the mileage. Usually we get it right around now. But you know, we tried to get the guy to come and give us an estimate, and I don't think he ever did.
That was for refurbishment versus
Right.
replacement.
Correct.
And then, yeah,
So we don't, I mean, we don't have numbers, but that's
Yeah.
as you can see, I mean, it's $500,000.
yeah, and I think the
One
thing
way or
is,
the other.
right, well, not necessarily one way or the other, but the thing about a replacement cost is we can bond for it, or not bond, but get the longer loans, right, for that. Whereas if we're looking at refurbishment, that's like money out the door that we pay this year because we don't have a reserve fund for maintenance. So that's why getting that estimate is gonna help us for the next round of this is to say like,
Well,
yeah.
when we were talking also is, you know, getting the refurbishment. Just talking to Keith, right, and talking to the guys, it's easier to maintain.
They were in favor of.
Very much of,
Yeah.
right, because everybody likes this machine.
Yeah.
So if we can get it refurbished, and I confess I kind of lost the thread on where we were and who we were.
Who you were chasing.
Who we
Just
were
make
chasing.
Sure you were
A
chasing.
few weeks ago, there was 8,235 hours on that.
The grader, 8,235. $8,235.
Okay, and to kind of wrap this conversation up, I just want to note again, Karen puts an enormous amount of work into getting the spreadsheet ready so that we can go through this in a relatively rapid pace. But y'all can see that there's a lot of time we spend going through these numbers and try to do them as thoughtfully as we can. One thing that I have noticed other neighboring towns have done, and we have historically had really poor to no attendance at our budget meetings, right? We've started to try to do some of them here in the regular meetings, which means I think not everybody here was, how many people were here for the budget? Raise your hand. Nobody, right? So, what I was wondering, other towns are starting to do something they call listening sessions that focus on trying to really get the community in to talk about this stuff. Do we want to entertain that idea? We do have more, we're gonna have to set some more meetings up for this stuff for sure. But I didn't know how the board felt about that. I mean, you know, we will be on the sort of under the heat lamp, shall we say.
I think if people are concerned about something, they're gonna come to a meeting.
I mean, meetings are warned and.
And they're
I've had people
warned
Talk
and-
to me and ask me when are budget meetings and I tell them, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're
And,
okay,
you know, we're,
continue on the way we've done it for years.
it's November 18th.
Yeah.
We gotta have everything done by Christmas, by New Year's Eve. We wanna have all our numbers, Patty and I, we've talked to, we're getting the word out to all the departments. We want all their numbers so that by New Year's Eve,
It'd be nice if we could have it done for.
we have
Christmas.
everything done. Now, that gives us January to do tinkering and fixing and whatever, but
Yeah.
all the moving parts, it has to be pretty much set in stone. Because last year, we did not have everything done until January 31st, and I spent the first week in February losing my mind, so
You don't need that.
it was just, that was unnecessary.
Yeah, and so yes, making sure that our departments know, for those of you who are on committees, that they should be letting us know if they want money. Because I think we've had a few. Well, I know one of the failures that we had was the EMD budget last year, right?
Yeah.
We asked Paul, we didn't get an answer, we under budgeted
We should
like
get an
crazy.
email out now to everybody.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
okay,
Patty and Emily and I are holding hands.
yeah, so.
Give me a list and I'll send some emails too if you want.
Yeah, no, I think we're good, but thank you.
Okay, so anyway, off we go. We got some stuff done. Some of the bigger ticket items, so that, you know, that's always a good to have out of the way. And, let's spare everybody else us checking our calendars, but remind me at the end of this to note, next, budget meetings. Because other stuff does creep in, and it's impossible to keep these regular meetings focused on that for more than 75 minutes, I think that we did today. Thank you, Karen.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Joan, for letting me move you around.
All right. So under old business, the first thing that we want to talk about is the Whitneyville Road intersection reconfiguration. We had a meeting on the 4th. We talked about it. Subsequent to that, we had a smaller meeting with 2 of the select board members, with our town council again, with the property owner and with Mike. And during that discussion, we determined that we are going to put gravel down south of the sign within the town right of way. And so there will be 2 access points still in the town right of way. That work is slated.
So that, okay, well, I guess I was confused because I thought we were just moving the
We are.
cut through down and
We
getting
are.
rid of the other. The cut through that was the landowners is getting thrown up, but the other road, I thought that part was going by too.
We have not made a decision as a board to do a road reclassification, which is what it would take to do, to
So I guess
change
we'll
that.
just leave it all alone until you guys figure out whatever you're doing.
Yeah, that's not what we thought, Edie.
Okay, so let me just state this. We're not closing that straight strip this winter.
Well, to
That's-
make a wide.
Edie, check this out.
Water out of there, you're gonna have to put in a culvert.
All right, this is
What,
the landowners, right?
Existing cut through.
That's the existing cut through that belongs to the landowner, and this is obviously not to scale. So it's kind of hard to make this turn. So what's happening is, and I'm making it up, this turn is getting expanded here, and the culvert is getting extended. This goes away. we don't need to reclassify anything because this is the existing road.
You're widening out the.
All we're doing is fixing the end so we can make a turn. A safe
Yeah,
turn.
I thought at the meeting, we decided that we were gonna go from where our two right of ways meet to the Y intersection to the straight part, the coming from Brook Road straight on.
Which is right about
you know,
here,
To the left.
right? It's right about here,
Yeah, your right of way starts there and go down to the culvert.
this way.
Yes.
Yes.
To the culvert, and that's gonna be where you turn on to it.
Yeah, so we're,
It's still in the right of way. it's
But
still-
we're not- if we want to, so I'm in agreement with you on that. We are not doing a road reclassification to that section. There will be here, it will be a smaller triangle, but this is not being closed at this point.
this is not being
You're doing this
reclassed.
by-
Edie, this is not being reclassed because it's a road and all we're doing is making this turn
Agreed.
bigger.
Agreed,
There's no reclass.
we're in violent agreement.
Right,
So
there's no
whether we
reclass.
call it that we're moving the cut through,
So all you're doing is adding on to the Y.
Yes,
Widening the intersection, is that what?
so
people-
that, so we can make a turn,
and if that has to be,
because it needs to be a safe turn, right? That's what we all talked about.
I thought we talked about going from where the right of way started down to the Y and making another cut through.
Well,
okay.
that was never, my understanding, because why would we do a cut through? What we need to do is make that turn safe. We need to make that turn, the original part of the road, make that a wider turn. So
Like
that
cutting
you
out-
can go left or you can
So
go right.
Exactly, so like we talked about, and I thought it was all agreed upon, that you're gonna come down through, go past the landowner's cut through, go down to where the right of way starts on both roads, meet together, and start putting gravel and ditch stone down through there to make another cut.
I think we're talking about the same thing.
So you're cutting off the tip of the triangle.
I
Yes.
know. You
Yes.
guys better have it engineered, I guess.
No, Mike, no, it's,
I'm not starting the project until it's finalized.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That dot that's the culvert that's there
Yeah.
now. You're extending this to here.
yes. That, Mike, we are in agreement.
I don't think we are.
I wasn't there at that last meeting, so I don't know. This is what
We
it
were
seems
on
like they're
site.
talking about. This is what's there now. There's
So
the
this is-
culvert,
This is Whitneyville, this is Brook.
correct.
Yeah.
This is the
What I
culvert
did.
now. Widening
Yeah,
this
that
out. so
was
the
never
culvert's
right,
Gonna
though.
continue.
Yeah,
underneath.
so what,
That-
okay, that's what we'll do.
I mean, that's what they're saying. I don't.
Because we said
I'm
if
the
we're gonna make a
messenger.
cut through and how much, what it was gonna cost, and then we were gonna have, then all we were doing is if we were moving the cut through and what Lyndon, maybe what you're remembering is Linda and I talking about,
When you guys get it all drafted up, let me know when you want it.
well, we're gonna see you Friday. I'm gonna come. I'm not coming to the bridge meeting, but I'll come Friday and we'll go look at it.
Okay.
Cause what we're trying to do is not have to reclass a road, make the actual entrance, the original,
I mean, you're pretty much gonna get the same thing in what we're talking about here.
right,
But the difference was I weren't gonna add 60 feet of culvert off the culvert that's there that headed all the way up toward Betty's driveway because of the angle on it. I was gonna, what I thought we agreed on, was make a new cut through
and then,
at the right of way, which is, we're talking few feet here in
Right.
differences, not
Okay.
miles.
okay. And then in the spring, then what?
Then
We
you
see
just
how,
go-
we see how it works, and if we get to the point in the spring where we say there is a real need to change this culvert, then let's
So
talk
then you
about
gotta
it at
dig it
that.
all up again.
But, agreed, but the point is, right now, we're trying to make it safe and have the best angle for people to get off of that road, from Whitneyville to Brook, right?
We certainly don't wanna do it twice, though. I think what Mike was saying is basically do it. And yes, there may need to be a little touch up or fluffing up in the spring.
Right,
to
that's what we-
Finish it, but not to redo it.
But
Correct.
do the permanent fix.
Stephen,
Can I ask a quick about changing the Y at the point?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, are people talking about 90-degree turns or curves? Because if you're talking about 90-degree turns, I'm not sure you gain exactly what you want, but if you have a curve, then a car can put itself in a position to have visibility up and down Brook Road as opposed to always turning angle. So just a question of what the.
This all becomes the turn.
Configuration.
And here, and here comes.
I don't know if you can return.
You're just taking the tip of the triangle off.
Yeah, but you can
Okay,
take,
this,
you can
this-
take it off in a straight line or you can take it off.
we're cutting the tip of the triangle off.
It's a straight line.
And you can come in
But-
this way
And
and
you
you can
can-
come in this way. This whole thing
Understand.
becomes the turn.
Right, that's fine. I just, from a traffic point of view, curves are somewhat
It's not, I don't know what
easy.
I'm confused about the word curve because all we're
He's talking
doing is.
about rounding the edge of it up, but I mean, I think
The
that,
tip.
I think this, the same thing will be done, as long as it's wide enough.
Yeah,
To
it
be
just
able
need-
to swing with a truck, that's the key,
And so
obviously.
that's the
If you
idea.
can swing to 90 degrees to Brook, then you'll be able to see both ways.
Yeah,
You know, if you're coming in like this, I understand you can't see.
Thank you.
All right. I will ask.
So, so on Friday, we're gonna measure. Or you guys can measure, if I'm not there, cause unless we have to, God help us if we have to have another warned meeting, it just seems like we spent an inordinate amount of time on this for 2 years. So what are we gonna do on Friday? Because Mike needs to know
Well-
exactly what it is we're doing and where.
I can bow out on Friday and then you two could come.
That also works.
I'll do that. You can,
Is that all right with you, Edie?
Mhm.
All right.
Okay. We are doing our best to communicate this, which you can see is a challenge because we are, we're trying to deal with stuff that's like on the ground, but also an understanding that the old thing that people have been driving on is private property. We want to stay off the private property, work completely within the town right of way. And we're not then gonna like extend the right of way any further. We're just using the right of way from those two roads to try to make a safer intersection. And we wish to get that done now because there are time constraints for the property owner. There are time constraints because winter is coming. And there are time constraints, like one of the elements of this for the select board is we have spent a lot of time trying to talk about this and trying to resolve this issue. We now have legal counsel that says this is, this is the mechanism by which we can do the least amount of work as a select board, as well as hopefully making it not a giant project for the highway department. So we will carry through with that. We will try to notify landowners. I will ask for more feedback on my communication because it feels like, once again, we may have some things that are not quite visualized properly on my map, on my drawing. But I was trying to indicate that we're not just saying that the property owner can do what she wishes with her property. We are saying that we are going to try to make the turn a safer with a longer line of sight based on the feedback.
Yeah, because of the feedback that we got from Joe and from Benny, that what we thought we wanted to do was gonna be, in their minds, unsafe. And so I think Mike is right. If we can accelerate that instead of waiting till the spring and make it that so that turn can come around, that's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do, given the time frame that we have.
All right. Sounds good. Questions? Comments? Anybody online?
I don't
Okay.
need to share my screen anymore, do I?
Okay.
Anything, Wayne?
Well, I come up here. No, I thought you might be talking about the Whitneyville Road. And the property owner. And where the sign used to be, which I was a little upset when they took it down, but it was done. And so I got a copy of that person's deed. And I can't find actually any pins that have been driven in. 'Cause a lot of times them pins get pulled up and thrown.
And there hasn't been a survey, in fact, Wayne,
No.
so I don't think you'll find any pins. That's,
So,
yeah, that's why we relied on the attorney the way that he read that deed was quite clear that where where the street sign is now? The towns, we measured from the two midpoints of those two roads, we measured 25 feet from each, so we went up 50 feet, but the tape measures 50 feet. It was just below the street sign, the current one that's still there, and anything beyond that is her property. So we're gonna try to do all of our work below that. And that was the piece that has been indeed for years not clear to the property owner, although she understood that she owned it. And the town also apparently didn't want to take action to say, we either have to like say, yes, it's ours, but really it's hers. And like, we get tax dollars from people who have private property, and I believe they should be able to do what they want with it. So I recognize that this is a change, and it's really hard to deal with that after so many years, but we're trying to make sure that we are, looking at what the law says and how the select board has to operate. If we wanted to take somebody's land and put a road on it, that's a huge deal. That's a huge process. And it makes it really tough for us to have that discussion as a town. So we're choosing to follow what we worked out with the landowner and Mike and Karen and I and the attorney and the select board.
Yeah, I tried to talk to her about the town highway right away,
Mm-hmm.
which I went and done some measuring. Town right of way takes up biggest part of that.
It does.
It does,
On
but
the
it
lower
doesn't
end, it takes most of them, on
Yeah.
the lower end.
on the lower end. Yeah.
Just real quick with Wayne. I don't know, Wayne, if this is what you're thinking. So if this is Brook,
Yeah,
this is where the old sign was,
yeah,
right? This is the cut through.
yeah,
Which doesn't belong to the town, it belongs to this landowner. So this landowner basically owns everything all the way to where the old sign was. Right? And so from the old sign down to that triangle, that's what we're talking about to make the turn like this. 'Cause
Oh,
this is gonna go away.
oh,
That's her property.
gonna do away with this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cause she's had people who've been running around
yeah,
in 4x4s
Yeah.
and somebody almost got hit by a car.
yeah,
So her liability risk
yeah.
was kind of off the charts, so that's why we're doing it like that.
It does make a good place for a truck or anything to turn around.
It does, but now they're gonna have to turn here,
Yeah,
that's all we
Yeah.
can do, cause this isn't ours, this never was ours. That's the problem.
so is there anything, nothing on her deed that shows she
Her-
owns this?
Yeah, it is, she owns, there is, that's what we had Bob Fisher. Yeah,
Well, it's different than my deed, different than what I got, I guess, so.
yeah,
The deed that Bob found in looking through the vault here
Yeah.
was the one that we measured from, and it shows that her property line starts at the town right away. So in other words, most deeds are at the edge of the road,
or
but
pin,
hers is actually more precise, and it shows that it's at the edge of the town right away.
Where the two right of ways meet.
Me.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well,
And we had to move the sign because the sign was in the way of.
yeah, see,
And I
The
think
line.
that the sign too, like to my mind, would have been a visibility problem if we tried to put it in the space that is the town right of way now. It would be harder to see, right? And that's the big concern there.
at the
So,
time of it, I believe Joni spoke to Lewis, I think Lewis was chairman at the time, and he brought it up at the selectmen's meeting, was all right for us to put that sign in there.
yeah,
And it was okay then, but maybe,
Well, it was
Well-
there for a lot of years.
yeah,
It
yeah.
did a good job for a lot of years. We just
Yeah.
had to.
but I
move it.
guess landowners change, and I don't know how long it's been there, but
Probably
it's
25
been
years,
there.
yeah, a long time.
25 years, 30.
I got a picture of it, it's been there. Just wanted to almost. All right, covered that.
Pretty long time.
Been there quite a while, yeah. I got a picture here.
That's what I thought, Joan, was early 2000s.
2004.
Four? Okay.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
but
Yeah.
that was after it was in a while, so it was
Huh.
probably been a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah. I was I was working on the insurance renewal for our property insurance, and we actually have insured that sign, so it's insured. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
It is.
So
So
if the tree falls
that
on
that
it,
doesn't mean anybody should try to bump into it, please,
Yeah.
but
Or
did
like
you see
a
what a
tree.
nice job that
on
Lori
it.
did with restoring it?
Yeah, I see.
There's the one that did all the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lori did the work, did a great job.
it was fun. And we kept, the center part of it is from the old sign. So we cut that out
Yeah,
and we were able to refurbish.
yeah, I
it.
know you were telling me one
Yeah.
day that you done couldn't
Yeah.
do it, so.
Yep, so we're good.
Well, I guess I'll just forget this deed then. I don't know. This is written up by Laura Sumner, town clerk.
I have to tell you that, when I was first doing the research, I couldn't see any evidence that the town did own that land. But it wasn't until I listened to Bob Fisher reading a specific line. So I think if you read it like a lawyer, it makes, it makes sense that that is her property. But for those of us who are not lawyers, it's confusing when you read it. And, it was very helpful to have his legal advice in the end. But you have to read it like a lawyer, and I'm not good, I'm not good at doing
Yeah.
that myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right,
Okay, well, I
Thank
guess
you
I
so
won't
much.
ask any more questions.
dear, thank you for being here.
We're glad you came.
Hopefully it worked out all right, so.
I hope so too. That's what our goal is. Okay, we also wanted to talk about the Clark Road, site visit follow.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks for
Thank you,
coming.
Joan.
Take care.
Take it easy.
So, I mean, I can start off on this. Saturday was the 15th. That was the day that was 30 days. For us to, go back and do a site visit.
Yep.
And we were gonna originally try to do it maybe Friday, but I spoke with Karen and I'm like, maybe Saturday, the actual day would work better because there's a good chance that
See you guys.
the landowner might be home that day.
Mhm.
And he was.
Good.
So we went there and we looked at it and he has definitely made progress.
And I'm sorry, I couldn't, my
Okay.
computer wasn't letting me take pictures. Let me pull them up so you can.
Karen, she has thought it was like a 90% difference. I didn't put a percentage on it, but it definitely looked a lot better. There is still a truck in
If
the
you want to show at least.
town trail, which
Oh.
he has moved down further. And he
Just
is
my
getting
picture.
closer
No,
to, for it to
that
be
starts-
out of there.
Okay.
There were two trucks, one of them's gone.
Yeah.
And the other one has moved down
Here.
and been trying to get it
And
running.
then it goes
Yep.
around.
One of the things he said was he
And
was in the
it's just
hospital.
Okay. Alright.
Anyway, but he also had moved, some stuff over on the side, some of the junk that was over there.
Truck's gone.
There's still a few things there. And he was saying that he's gonna try to get some help from a neighbor to move the motorcycle that was there.
Okay.
The
Karen
tires
and I,
on back. we
yeah,
had five-
Karen actually moved some of the tires for him. And we just tried to help him do a couple things real quick so he could
Yeah, Randy helped him
Feel
move the battery
motivated
so he could
to
get the battery charged
get-
and hopefully.
get it done, but
Yeah.
he has definitely made progress.
Okay.
There was a car that was parked up there before, that's gone.
Yeah.
There was a car that was parked parallel to Clark Road down below where the three vehicles were.
Mhm.
That's gone. There was another car down there that's gone.
Okay.
So
We have room to get that out of the way.
we told him we really want him to get the rest of it done this week. We really appreciate the fact that he was, sometimes people need encouragement, and that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to encourage him to
Yeah.
continue the good work and to get it done, but he definitely has made a lot of progress.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a really dumb question. Everybody knows that my mechanical skills are really not very good. Is it possible to actually push that truck out of the way?
It would be,
Okay.
but
What, the blue truck?
The one that he said was running and is now
Yeah.
apparently not running, right?
Or it could be running because he moved the battery, so that was on the 15th, so it's been 3 days, so I
Right,
don't know
it
if
could
it's
be
there or
running
not.
right
It
now,
could be
yeah.
running and gone.
So did you guys set a follow-up date with him?
No, we
we did set up
figured,
a follow-up date. We told him that, we would really like him to get the rest of it done this week, because it's gonna be nice weather.
Okay,
And he said he would.
okay.
so.
So I'm wondering if we should try to do a friendly follow-up meeting.
I mean, I'm welcome to go back.
Okay, that would be
maybe next
great.
weekend or something.
Yeah, cause I just worry, I've seen enough white stuff. Mike, have you seen enough white stuff for this point in February, in November
More
already?
than he wants.
I think we're good for this week for sure, but maybe most of next week, but
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
never know. It
Okay.
change.
All right, Thank you so much for doing that. I will not send any written follow-up until we feel like it's really where we need it to be. So if we can check back in a week, that'd be great. Okay. Any other comments or questions on the Clark Road? Can you let Keith know we're still working on it, please? Thank you. All right, the next thing on the list is preliminary flood insurance rate maps from FEMA. FEMA has reawakened, apparently. This was supposed to be in our.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good
Thanks.
night, everybody. Hope everything goes well.
Yeah,
Yes,
good
good
luck,
luck.
good luck, good luck.
Okay. And I clearly didn't see that one. That's not here last time. Okay, so after a lot of work to update the flood insurance rate maps, the town has now been presented with its revised preliminary copies of the flood insurance rate map and the flood insurance study report for Wyndham County, Vermont, and it's up for our review and comment. We are they've only updated what they call firm panels for those sections that have updated.
1 second, there's a note from Emily. She's
Okay.
Emily Karras
Okay,
Duncan.
all right.
She has to jump to
And it
another
looks like
meeting.
she's actually gone already,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
sorry that I missed, if she was here for, I guess she said no on the, did she want to talk though,
He was
right?
just here to.
She said,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was just, yeah.
I'm sure she's
a budgeting.
gonna come back to more of her budget meetings, because
Yeah.
that's always exciting. All right, so these revised maps have been sent to us. I have gone to the website, I have downloaded them. And now it's like, thank you. Like, what does this mean? Right? So I had gone to a training before, more than a year ago, I think, that said, basically, when these come out, they're trying to give our community an opportunity to review them. And they've posted digital copies on a map service center. So we could maybe post that on the website. And it says, we will contact you shortly to schedule a formal community coordination meeting to discuss the revised flood hazard information, ordinance adoption, and other frequently asked questions and concerns. So they want us to recirculate the copies as widely as possible. And there's only one family, one property in town that I believe that the map, and this is at the same bridge that we were talking about earlier, right? That property to the right is the only one that has any kind of a designation from FEMA, like, don't build here, is essentially what I'm think it kind of means.
Sorry, at the 112 branch corner.
Yeah. But then they also had gotten some sort of a letter, that said, in reality, the corner of the property, if you've been past it, there's quite a difference in elevation.
Mhm.
Where the house is and where the corner of the property is, that's of concern.
Mhm.
There's some sort of a letter that they have that basically says, it's okay. But, the end of the story is, if there are places that are gonna flood, FEMA doesn't want you to build in them. And we saw a tragedy that happened in Texas because that kind of advice wasn't, people were asking for variations, I guess, or whatever. In any case, we don't want that kind of thing to happen. But I don't think that there's actually a huge impact on us, except for we need to have this meeting. I have reached out to Tom Fox of the Planning Zoning Commission. I probably need to reach out to Kyle, because as our zoning administrator, he is also our floodplain administrator. And I'd like to reach out to the property owner. And actually, I think I'm gonna ask Rhonda if I can work with you to do that, because I know they're connected with you. And I don't think there's any conflict of interest here for me to say, like, these people don't know me from a hole in the ground. So together, we just want to say, hey, here's something that you need to be aware of as a property owner. And then they can come to this meeting and we can make changes or suggest changes, not about where the water's gonna go, because none of us are hydraulic engineers or hydrologists or whatever those different specialties are. I don't even know the names of them formally. But let's say we looked at it and they had misspelled the name of a road or a brook or something on the maps, we can give them that kind of feedback at this, during this comment time. So, and then, oh God, there's a whole nother page we haven't read. So we're supposed to submit comments no later than 30 days from the date of this letter. And any comments and changes received will be incorporated as appropriate before they become effective. And okay, so and here it says, according to our records, no letters of map changes have been issued for your community on the panels associated with this map revision. So it's really, I think a non-issue, except to say that they've tried to update where those waters are actually going to go. After the meeting that we have with them, there will be a 90-day statutory appeal period for certain communities. And if we're identified as requiring an appeal period, they'll send us a letter before that starts. And then there's another 30-day review. And then by the time I retire from this position, we'll be all done. No, it's a lot. And I think that going to the meeting last time really helped me feel a little bit better about what has to happen and what, in our case, fortunately doesn't have to happen here. But I wanted the board to know about that. And I'm done with my 5 minutes on it.
Edie will
Yeah.
be a link provided so we can just go.
Yeah.
read it out.
Yeah, I can, why don't I, for right now, can I give you this letter and you can copy it down? I don't know when I'll get it on the website, but
That's fine.
it's like the third or fourth paragraph down. Last time they sort of said, don't show anybody these maps. I'm like, oh, that's not how I tend to operate, but I guess they're ready now. All right, so any further hearing of visitors at this point? Anybody online? Jeff, do you want to say anything? Let me put you off mute. Hang on. I'll ask you to unmute. There you go.
Did you ever address Wheeler Road with Bob Fisher? You said you were going to. I was wondering whether he made any comeback or any feedback on it.
I can answer that real quick. Jeff, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. So when we had the meeting, like the last time when we spoke, we had a conversation with the town attorney on a number of topics. And the one thing that our homework assignment from him was to measure Wheeler Road. And Mike and I did that about a week or so ago. I still have to put all this in an email and send it to Bob. But basically what it confirmed, and I think that's what he wanted, and I'm telling the board now for the first time, Wheeler Road, as you guys will recall, 2/10 of a mile, it's a pretty short road, it goes uphill. 2/10 of a mile is town road. Beyond that, it's private. Mr. Glazer's property is right on the edge. So a mile is 5,280 feet, so 2/10 of that is 1,056 feet. So Mike and I measured from the middle of Hanson and then straight up. So we went, so if 2/10 of a mile, right, so from the middle of Hanson, it would be 1,056 feet. Would be the town road. There are some land stakes at 1,022 feet. And then we also measured below from the driveway, which is 1,056 feet, which is your downslope neighbor. Basically, what we determined, and I have to put this in proper English, that there's 34 feet of Mr. Glazer's property, which is within the 2/10, which would be on public. Everything else is private. So the property line to the first culvert is 85 feet. The driveway is another 125, and then to the far side, it's 149. So most of Mr. Glazer's property is on the private side. There is a small piece, which would be that small piece of that culvert would be town. So I'm going to go back to him, but basically that's what Bob wanted to find out.
So right now, you have this information, you're getting it to
I have to get
Mr. Fisher.
Yeah, I got to get it to Bob.
You're saying that the culvert that you worked on is private or town?
Private. That's what we always thought, and we just confirmed it with the measurements.
And below that, where the ditch is town?
Private, except for about 30 feet. The bulk of that downslope ditch is private.
Okay, would you fill that in?
You asked us to do that, to put in a culvert, so that's a whole different conversation. And I don't think we've spent money, and so I don't think
I think we
That's a
have
whole
to
different
wait and
conversation.
See what
Bob
Mr.
says.
Fisher
Yeah.
says with what we have now for measurements and
Yeah,
information.
but that's all your property. And, as a practical matter, we didn't realize it at the time, but we shouldn't have put your culvert in at all.
I understand that. You shouldn't have cut the tree roots either.
But you're welcome to call Sue Kelly, but those tree roots are not impaired at all, as far as we can tell. That's an old tree.
Asplund Street says it's a major hazard.
You better cut it down then.
They might. It's marked to be cut down. I think they're going to.
Okay.
So I can fill it in myself?
It's it's your property,
Okay.
but and if we hear back from the attorney and he says something else, then you'll unfill it, I guess. But
I think
You might
it
wanna
would
wait.
be.
You oughta wait.
If you could, let's just wait a little bit for the attorney to make his, final
Okay.
judgment on that, or
I'm
not
not going
judgment.
to do anything until the spring. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Stephanie, anything else from you online?
No, I'm all set. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Rhonda, you holding up in there? Give us a thumbs up if okay, thank you. Nancy?
Nope.
Steven?
No.
Okay, all right, so next up we have correspondence. I just want to make a note about, again, there's always stuff flying around. So I was gone for a good chunk of time and Patty got a message from PACIF, which is our property insurance people. And they said, oh, there's a renewal application, please return it by 11:15, and I got it on the 14th, I believe. And the 15th was a Saturday. And I remembered that from last year, they said if they don't have updated information, they just go with what they have. But on Sunday, I was feeling a little more generous with my time and I tried to fill out most of those schedules and the information as I had done it last year. Typically, this is done by the select board chair. But it asks for things like, what property are you insuring? And so in going through that, one of the things I realized is that the old excavator and the old wheeled loader and the truck that we just sold are all still on that schedule. So I sent an email to Patty, who was then not working on Monday. She had a medical day off. And so I don't know if I can finish this and fix this, but at a minimum, at any given time, if we tell them that a piece of equipment is not in our ownership anymore, I'm sure they'll take it off the schedule. Last year, the big change that we had with this was we went through and spent some time with the fire company, who said that they were concerned that their equipment was underinsured, and if anything happened to it, that it would be a massive hit for them to get to some place of replacement. So we did change the valuations of that, and we are spending more. We budgeted for more for that equipment. And the only other thing that I noticed, and again, tried to fill out the form and it wanted something and I couldn't tell what field. It wasn't happy that I didn't fill out, but I want to get the second repeater on Silverberg property was not on there. The sign was on there. The other repeater was on there, so each of these little things that the town owns are on this to be protected with property and casualty insurance.
But you told them to take those 3 vehicles off, and
No, I sent it to Patty and I didn't realize she was not going to be in on Monday. And then I didn't follow up yesterday or today with her on
Okay.
that. So
So
all that
Pat-
to say, it's already late and, at some point I can talk to PACIF and sort of do mea culpa, but not only my problem because, I didn't get it until really late, but also I wasn't around really to do much on it anyway. So that's that.
That
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Good night.
Even time, I gotta go.
All right, and
Take it
then,
easy.
Thank you.
and then
Bye,
other,
Nancy.
other things for, correspondence. Again, I really do want to get something out to the property owners. And I did put something on the website, whether it's right or wrong and understood and
Well, I
like,
think the key thing is right, because it's the cut through is going away and we're not maintaining it. That,
Yeah.
that is the map.
yeah, and like where this little, where this gravel is going to make that turn safe, I did my best to throw a little line
Yeah.
in to say.
I think for,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
At
so,
least before the winter season, that's
yeah.
what will be done.
and then Friday after the meeting, we'll go measure it and we'll find out from Mike. And if there's some
Yeah.
massive thing that certainly that I've misunderstood, but
Yeah, I mean, my
doesn't
sense
seem like I did,
again
but
was
maybe.
he, like, some people wanted to have that, we're gonna move the cutoff, and I'm like, I don't know what we're doing except like putting gravel here instead of, you know, like, and again, to the extent that we can do this
No
once.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, yeah, across the cutoff, yes, on the first, yeah.
yeah, so, and then figuring out how to mark that, and then lastly, with that, you know, there were a number of things that I said I wanted to try to do to communicate, and we can figure out which of those still make sense. But all right, so that's the other communication thing I think I had. Anybody else have other correspondence that they want to raise awareness of?
Can I ask the board a question?
May I ask the board another question? Yes, sir.
When you say you measured the road to 2/10 of a mile, you started at the center of Hanson Road. Well, the length of my road doesn't start at the center of the road. It starts at the edge of Hanson Road, which is, there is a pin there. So if you have a 50-foot right of way for Hanson Road, you're 50 feet short, plus the 30 feet you say is on my property. And that just about equals where I think the end of private road and town road ends. That's what it was in the 1995 when I bought the property. There was telephone poles there indicating the end of the road. Now I think we're right at that point, give or take 10 feet. I don't think you can measure Wheeler
Well, do
Road
we-
from the center of Hanson Road.
Well, I guess that's how you do it. I don't know. Mike is the guy who knows roads, so you measure from the center point. But what would
You
be
measure from
helpful-
you measure from the edge. It's a T. Like you're talking about Whitneyville Road, you measure from the edge of the road is Hanson Road, and then the other part of the road is Wheeler Road. You don't measure from the center of the road. It's very convenient to measure from the center, but I think I'm getting closer to my point that the dividing line between town and private is the lot that's between my house and the empty lot there. We're within 20 feet the way you're talking, which is town road.
So here's what I'm gonna ask you to do, because
Sure.
no, listen to me. Here's what I'm gonna ask you to do. Can you put like a ribbon or a stake or something where you think your end of your property is? And then I can talk to Mike, because I'm running around and.
That's already there. That's already there.
So those
In
stakes,
fact,
right?
in fact, I had the survey on the end of my property made guaranteed to a half an inch. And when the town came 2 or 3 years ago, they ripped that stake out, and I spoke to Mike about it. We looked for it. We can't find it. It was a guaranteed point with a thing from Richard Joyce, and now it's gone. I think I know within 6 inches where it is, but that was a guaranteed line. It got ripped out by the town ditching the road a few years ago, which I thought was dirty pool, but I can't do anything about it.
So here's the thing, Jeff, and like I said, I'm gonna talk to the attorney and I'll tell him how I measured it, and if he thinks I need to change it, I will. But we measured to the land stakes, which sounds like those are your property line, is 1,022 feet. If you want me to add 25 feet, that makes it
1,022.
56. That makes it 1,056. That means those stakes are at the very end of the public part of the road. That's what that means.
1,022 plus what? 25?
Plus 25 is exactly 1,056.
It's 1,047.
Or
That's not
10
that far
feet,
off.
whatever. But anyway, I think we've talked about this enough. We've got a lot on our plate and I've got to get back to the attorney. If he thinks I've started from the wrong spot and I'll mention to him that you think I did, then we'll take it from there. But from what I can tell, your property is almost entirely on the private side of the road.
Give or take 30 feet, you said.
No, give or take 10 feet.
Oh, 10 now. Okay.
All right, so we'll take that conversation and again with Attorney Fisher's
Guidance, we'll do it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
your,
Okay.
your property's on the private side of the road.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. What else we have on the list? Approval of previous minutes. Okay. All right.
Can we share my
Rhonda?
screen?
Yeah,
Yes,
Rhonda,
we
you
can.
still with us?
Okay.
I'm gonna say I read what you had, or somebody had made changes.
Yeah.
And it looked really good.
Okay.
The only thing I saw one thing,
Okay.
it was, on the second page. Uh, 15 months per Johnny. That should be like, I don't know, 7 months. It was just since I came on in March that we were
Oh,
discussing.
I actually listened to the recording on that and you said something about 13 months, because it was like August of
13.
2024.
It was more than a year that we were working on it, pretty sure.
Yeah, but like
Oh,
not,
but I
not 2
probably
years.
just said since I've been here, been 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
I said, I didn't actually say that. but-
Okay, I
But it
listened to
doesn't
the
matter.
recording and I swore you said 13 or whatever I wrote down.
Mm.
Okay, is this the copy that I sent out, Emily?
No, that's not the red copy.
Sorry about that. Pulled up the wrong one. Hold on.
There you go.
I think there was one other thing at the end of the meeting that I did not know, which is it said that I said something and I'm like, I was out at that point. Definitely wasn't me.
Oh, because you left early.
Yeah, somebody read the orders.
Oh, I think I read the numbers.
All right, here we go. Okay. I'm
All right,
ready.
so it looks like the, uh, no, that's still not the right one.
No.
So
This one,
strange.
this is the one that was in the meeting preparation one.
You're looking for this one with the cutout? With the-
No, we want the track change one, right?
Yeah, no, I think I mean,
It was in your meeting preparation email
yeah,
from.
Do you want me to not accept these yet?
yeah, I just don't, I think what could be happening is
It looks
that,
like they're already accepted.
yeah, it might be that they're already accepted, although I think I did things like take out that included call to order and changes and additions to the agenda.
Mm.
And so that's why I'm not clear that my changes are all here. Can
Can you resend her your
I can,
whatever?
That looks like it's the same one. But just this one.
did I? Maybe files, like start here. Where's the start button? All right, I sent it again, and now I'm gonna actually go and make sure that it was the copy that we wanted. Okay, seems like it.
Can you show me how to get out of this thing?
All right, this is the one that you just sent.
Yep. Yep, this is the one I sent it earlier today. I think, was it earlier today? I don't even know. Yesterday, okay, yep, this is the one we want. Okay. So what I've heard is that we can probably accept all the changes. Is that correct?
That's what I said. I read the whole thing today.
Okay.
You're good?
I mean, I
Except for
said
you
what I said, but yeah.
Yeah, there was that slight change she made.
Okay. So accept all, and then we're gonna make a couple of other changes. Okay, so we're gonna go down towards the bottom of the meeting and we're gonna look for Marcagiani. Oh, okay, let's go with this yellow thing here too, though. Okay. So yeah, so I don't know whether to keep this line or not. I mean, it was stated, but I don't know that I like that it was stated, but it was also stated.
It was stated.
And I feel like it's the kind of thing that like, that's just, frustrating to figure out whether to keep it in or.
I mean, it's more of like an opinion. It's not a fact. Like, they don't know for sure that that's gonna happen.
Who did say he feels, or Brennan feels?
Well, I think he said that, and that's why I said asserted, like I didn't agree with that, but. Well, we could,
Well, I mean, the truth is, I mean, it was said, and we are now going to make changes
okay.
before winter, so.
Okay, so let's just leave it as is. Okay, and then we're gonna go back up about 3 or 4 lines to the issue has been under discussion with this board for 15 months per Marcagiani. How many should we just say multiple months?
Yeah, they're numerous or something.
Okay. All right. Okay, and then I did put a line in there to say like, okay, this wasn't the end of the conversation. We did talk about it in other spots so that if anybody was reading the minutes, they would understand that we needed to keep going. Further down on the very bottom, it said that I had read the order in and it wasn't me because I wasn't here. So we think that was Christofferson. Way towards the bottom.
Yeah, I think so.
So. Yeah. It's good to stand up. And then you can take my highlight off of that one. And truthfully, I didn't really watch the video till the end. I watched the parts that were.
And I never had ended up hearing and I watched the video for this part because I hopped off after the last meeting minute part.
Okay.
I couldn't hear in the recording who seconded.
Who seconded?
Yeah.
In the adjournment? Or which part?
Oh,
Sorry.
no, never mind. Brain fart. The select board ordered. It just gets read.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No vote on that one. And am I mistaken, but did we just have a meeting where we took not a single vote?
Yeah, I think you did.
Tonight, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
I didn't write anything down. We almost started a couple, but.
We're gonna vote to accept.
Oh, we're gonna accept, sorry, all right,
So-
too quick.
But I actually found something and now I gotta
Okay.
find it again. Hold on, sorry, I got scrolling around. All right, here. So the board signed a contract for road salt from Eastern Salt at $99.75 per ton. And the state issued contracts to the suppliers. So the contract we signed was actually for 98.25,
It was less than.
and the state contract ended up being 99.75. Which came later. So. You see where that is?
Where are we going? What section?
It'd
I
be
was-
on page 5. Second paragraph, short paragraph. Keep going up, or unless you're doing something else, sorry. Keep going up, right? Oh, slow down.
Okay, under correspondence, third paragraph under that.
Patty Dow, and then the next paragraph.
Okay, so the contract that we signed was for what dollar amount?
88.25.
88 or 98, so
I'm sorry, 98.25.
98.
And then maybe just put a period after that, yeah, after the ton. And then it
Then you
sounds
could
like,
say later, the state issued contracts for 99.75. And I think you could say, you could get right up to the suppliers.
yeah. Okay. So maybe we have our first motion of the night. Somebody want to make a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from November 4th as amended.
Second.
okay, motion's been made and seconded to accept the minutes from November 4th, 2025 as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Rhonda, I see a thumbs up, so that's gonna count as an aye. And technically, when somebody's remote, we're supposed to do a voice
A
count.
voice.
Yeah, so. So it's 5-0, in any case, including Rhonda. Anyway, 5-0, the only time we have to do it is if it's not unanimous, then we have to say who did something. Okay, select board order is next.
Did Lori second that one or Karen?
Lori did,
Yes, I
yep,
did.
Yeah.
Yep,
Thank you. And is it okay if I hop off?
If you what?
if she hops off.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Emily.
Thanks, Emily. See ya.
No.
26th. Joan and Wayne in here. Is anybody else out here? I've got Kate and Joe,
Yep.
Nancy,
Nancy.
Stephen, Mike, and Joan and Wayne. That's it, right?
Yeah, and then on the,
I just usually send her a snapshot of who was here, so she has it. Although she gets to read my terrible writing after I yell at everybody else.
So does this really suffice as an invoice? When we don't really know where it's from? I mean, I understand it's from them, but
from Dennis, you
shouldn't
mean?
it show a little more at some point, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
that's
thought.
his 15,000. It should have backup, so we should put on there. I guess, you're right, because the budget for equipment for the fire department was 15,000. So he should have
A breakdown.
a breakdown of what that 15, so if you've got a yellow thing, then yes.
What do you want me to write?
Just say, Patty, before we can pay this, Dennis needs to provide backup for the 15,000. Cause if you only spent 13,000, then it's 13,000. If you spent
Yeah, that's,
15,600, it's 15,000.
that's an interesting point.
Because otherwise it's.
No,
like,
you're
yep, we
absolutely
spent
right.
15,000 and
Who
what,
knows?
what?
In the
Right.
past, right? Remember when it used to be in the other side of the budget, the services? And then people have just said, here, I want my money now, that was voted on those social services, but since we put it within the budget,
Yeah,
we need
it
to,
may be a different process for that.
yeah.
So yeah, just say before she sends him the money, we need to have the copies of the backup.
Yeah.
Of the invoices that he used.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Randy.
On the point of, Dennis, for the board's knowledge, there was a email from the person who coordinates the Guilford gravel grinder, following up from the letter that was sent by the fire department to them and to a select board, asking that we do not allow them to run that race on our roads. And I am going to meet tomorrow at 7 p.m. with Zoom.
Yeah, let's initial it and just say subject to backup.
Yeah.
They'll just say subject to backup, because if it's 13,000, then the check is.
You want me to write that here?
Yeah, I would say subject to receipt of backup. For invoiced amount.
Yeah. When this happens, though, like realistically, she's not gonna have that for this. Like, she's not.
She'll
gonna have-
hold it
Yeah.
and she won't send it. That's what we're saying. We're saying.
Right, but I'm sort of wondering if we should just say, no, send it back, like. Rather than.
Because if he brings it tomorrow, then she can pay it instead of waiting 2 weeks. That's the only.
Yeah.
I mean, as a practical matter, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I'm gonna meet here with Dennis and the people from the Guilford gravel
You
grind.
could ask Dennis. You're gonna see him.
I'm gonna see him if I remember to ask him.
Why don't you,
Yeah,
let me,
Make the
let me
copy
make a
and-
copy of that.
and-
Can I have that?
I'll try to
Yeah.
remember to
invoice,
ask
I'll
him.
make
From the bottom, next one.
I'm really bad at like conflating issues or bringing things together, so that would be good.
That would be really,
Yeah,
because then you can explain it to him as, that makes it easier, I think.
yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna
Is
keep
this the second? Oh,
that, yep,
Yeah.
that one goes in
in
between.
between.
So if anybody has like grave concerns about the Guilford gravel grinder, you're welcome to, one other person is welcome to join me with a meeting, but it's basically trying to mediate between the groups. And I think they're gonna suggest a route that doesn't go through the village.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these things are not. We don't need to make a big deal out of them, as long as, the biggest thing is that people know, especially like EMT fire, because that
Well-
could be an issue.
Well, that's the thing, is they knew and they weren't happy with it.
Okay.
And so the question was, can we tell them no? And the answer from VLCT came back saying, actually, you could, make them fill out your right of way permit if you had it in your highway ordinance, that they had to then, pay some sort of fee. And I was like, we're not there. We're not there at all. So what I'm trying to get to is an agreement that, this is where it will be held. It will not come through the village, which is too fast.
Mhm.
And I will then bring it back to the board when we have a new route, but
Okay.
yeah. Comments on that?
I was just gonna say, this one here, you made a note,
Mhm.
you did not initial it, should I not initial it too?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, that was just my,
Same thing as the other.
yeah, so we should have the backup for that 975.
This is mine. So putting my initials here is an official.
Mhm.
It looks so real. Somebody's phone.
It's just mine buzzing.
Oh.
So that's on here twice,
There's two different,
okay,
so if you look, I think there should be two different, which one are you looking at?
I don't know, if I wanna say the name, second one down. And it's down here too. Cause there was a slip for that from her early on in this
And then
statement,
there's this 1520.
right?
Oh, good
So,
catch. I
Guess
don't know.
there are there two, or is it supposed to be the same
You're
one?
talking about this one up here, the 1520?
Wait.
Yeah, the
Okay.
second one,
Here.
that 1520. So that's 1520, incorrect amounts paid by individuals, list generated. So this is,
It's there
Yes.
twice.
It's just,
056 parcel ID, so that's the same parcel ID. And then this, the 1520. That's 156. I think that's right. I think that's on here twice. So let's reduce,
In other words, it's.
I would take this second one off. Let's take this one off.
Yeah.
Because we have this memo here,
Mhm.
and I would say
Did something happen? I can't get anybody. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, hey, can you hear us now? It looks like you're nodding yes. Okay, we're gonna go back on. video.
Just say thumbs up if she can hear us.
Yeah, do a thumbs up if you can hear us. Okay.
Yeah.
Your thumb is, your
There
like
you go.
thumb is away from the camera, but.
Yeah, we got it.
Wow.
All right, Rhonda. Awesome.
Hand signals. Yeah, fun video to rewatch, huh? All right.
Bottom, very bottom. Need to subtract 15, 20
she
from
did,
what she
right?
did. Yeah,
Right
okay,
here, she
yep,
did.
perfect.
One of the things we need to,
What's the total that I'm showing there?
30,932 and 12 cents.
Okay. After the reduction of 1520.
Yeah.
Okay.
hey, Rhonda, get your calendar out. We want to set up the next budget meeting. Well, we're going to set up the next budget.
We don't want.
Well, I think we should. For our next meeting, the question is, do we want one Thanksgiving week? Because our next meeting is December 2nd, and I'm happy having December 2nd also be a budget meeting. It's just a normal meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like if we can only get through 3 line items, it's just not.
Yeah, but these were big. If we can just buzz through, those are
Anything we
big.
can get
And,
done.
and now what we'll do is we should go through every single line item and just go through it.
The,
And then if somebody comes back and says, oh no, I really need this other number, then we'll revisit it.
okay, we want to put something the following week.
I mean, do we want to have the second one
December
start at
7th.
5?
I can start anytime. It's really up to
What
you.
day is it? 12?
Tuesday, it's a regular meeting.
It's hard for me to start at 5.
You mean December
I mean, I
2nd?
could probably start at 5:30.
So the question, so we're saying we don't want anything saying next Tuesday, the 25th. We're saying nothing?
So next Tuesday, the 25th, the one thing we'd have to work around is the Animal Control Committee scheduled a meeting on the 25th.
Oh, okay. What time are they?
They're at 6.
Oh, yeah, that's not gonna work for us then. I am gone on the 26th. Unless we did it Monday, the 24th. Oh,
Do Monday. So I could do Monday.
Randy, Lori.
I'm thinking,
Well, I have something going on all day, but I can do
think that works Monday?
Monday the 6th. at
Monday
6 p.m.
evening?
Hey, Rhonda? Can you do a budget meeting Monday, November 24th?
Yeah, what time?
What time, guys? You wanna start at 6? At 6?
The 24th at 6? Yeah. Yep, that sounds good.
Okay.
Budget.
I need to get Mike, we're gonna. Because I think one of the things is the reason we decided to put him early was because it's starting to.
Good weather.
Bad weather. Now.
Yeah,
I
but
will
that's
say- I
fine.
will
And if
say-
it's bad weather, we'll ask Patty to be here, and then we'll just go through,
Yeah.
zip through.
We'll do something, but yeah, if he
Okay.
can't be here, we'll.
Okay, and then,
And we're staying at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
What's the date?
11/24.
Just leaving the CDs, you need to side.
I got through with the first 3 or 5.
Yeah, you were a ways through. How's your puppy? Your dog, Rhonda?
Good. He kept hearing voices and he wanted to bark. He wanted to bark.
Okay, so we're saying 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Tuesday, and this is just budget. Is there anything else that presumably there shouldn't be anything else we shouldn't have hearing of visitors. We shouldn't have,
We have to have hearing of visitors.
right,
but-
because they'll be here, but we
Yeah.
we don't necessarily have to have correspondence unless there's something come in budget related or. Because
Yeah.
it's not a regular meeting, so we can keep that.
Yeah.
That's just a meeting.
Alright. Alright,
Is that our second? That's our second meeting. Good. Okay.
Is that the only one we're gonna nail down right now?
Thanks. I think so.
Cause we have a meeting the next Tuesday.
And then we have the next Tuesday, and that could be another budget meeting. You know, I think
Right?
that every meeting we have should be primarily budget until we panic and have to do something like a Saturday or something. We're not getting stuff done.
Is that still the same time next on the 2nd? Would it be at 6 or 5:30? I don't remember.
Yeah, what did we say? We were talking about.
Well, we talked about November 24th. That'll be at 6, and
Yes.
December 2nd is the normal 6 o'clock meeting.
Oh, okay, all right. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, possibly doing it one earlier, but we don't necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Is it hot? Yours?
It is, I just
Been
got,
hot all night.
Like that,
I just
that's-
put up some,
Shirt off.
put up some heat.
We would think the heat, is it on a timer or does she set it?
I think it's set by the school. I don't think she has any control over it.
gonna say, it
Yeah,
should go
cause it
down.
did just come on.
It should come down.
Um,
Cool.
a note on this, the Wyndham County Sheriff's Office, it's just divided equally during the year, and then at the end of the year, they do that true up with us.
Is that how they do it?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
well, if
just
you
so
wanna
that-
take that off, if that
yeah.
makes sense, sure.
Yeah, that's just how it's been.
Because I thought we used to get those sheets and it would say,
would give us something that
you know,
says, you know, you got.
parking
this at the
ticket
front.
or as, you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
all right, so this is, are these all, oh, there's just a few mentioned, okay. All right. And core launcher. Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you now. Okay, so I'm gonna read into the minutes, the select board order, which is from November 18th, 2025. It is order number 10. And the grand sum total is $30,000, not $30,932.12. So that's that. We also have the highway orders here, and they have the health insurance and, you know, sort of standard stuff, nothing unusual there. And if you're still off mute, Rhonda,
Yeah, okay, let's do it. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0, unanimous.
Alright, and the time is 8:32.
8:32,
Let's get recording stopped.
okay.
Bye, Rhonda.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ron.
Have a good day.
Yeah, feel better.
I will. I promise.